Hey, what's going on? This is Falling Forward, episode 6, Limit Your Access. So today I have my brother Phil in the house on Marnell, and we appreciate you joining us again for episode 6 of the Falling Forward podcast. So the Falling Forward podcast was created, based on weekly conversations that Phil and I were having as men dealing with topics that are sometimes taboo for us to talk about, such as emotion, but more broadly speaking, surrounding fitness, spirituality, marriage, parenthood, and all things business. So is the one thing that you're currently holding on to worth you missing your window opportunity to elevate your life? So let me ask this more clearly. Is the one thing that you know you need to give up more important than your spiritual, financial, and physical growth? So again, I got my brother Phil here. Today we're going to be talking about limiting your access to people and really setting boundaries and what that means to us. So Phil, I'll let you get the first words, brother. Glad to be able to hook up with you again this week.
Likewise, Arnell. Like Arnell said, this platform, we just want to give our viewers access to look at our failures from a different lens, hence falling forward and not backwards. So we're not actually looking at the things that didn't happen the way we want to as failures, as we're looking at like lesson learned, and we're falling forward, learning from mistakes to achieve our goals. Um, so just starting off with the first one, I'll say for me, to limit your access, it means to restrict to a small number of people on a need to know basis. So what this entails for me is you can't allow everyone to know your business or everything because their opinions could compromise your decision making.
Mm.
Uh, just a little bit more meat on that bone. I think you should maintain access control to mitigate the risk of trust and judgment. And another part, you can't do everything on your own. So sometimes you need to outsource what you need to be done.
Yeah, I like that, man. And what I heard too. I think the biggest thing I heard you just say is quality over quantity. So you want quality people that have access to you, man. And I think a lot of times we get it mixed up with having more people on our side and on our team, man. And I think we need to set boundaries, like you were saying, limited that access. And everybody can't have access to you, man. So is there any value? Do you think everybody should practice this type of theory? You think everybody should limit access to people, places, and things? This doesn't just apply to people. I mean, this has got to be activities. This has got to be distractions. Certain things that we let in our minds too, man. So just speak on that a little bit.
Oh man, that's great. So to answer your question from a broad perspective of everyone, I would say yes. Um, Meaning everything and everybody don't deserve your energy. And to save your sanity, you shouldn't expose yourself to everything that is being displayed in the world in, the different forms. However you see things or hear things or interpret things, you should safeguard yourself uh, from that data being inputted in your mind. Because that data that's coming in, it comes in, get analyzed, and you produce something out, whether it's a action or verbally. So I feel like you should caution yourself and safeguard yourself by what you listen to, what you hear. That way, your output will be controlled by you on what you let in.
Mm, So the first control mechanism and the safeguards got to be you.
Right.
We're not even worried about other people. So we got
Yeah.
to watch what we let in our minds and let in our lives, because that's going to, like you said, determine and dictate our output. That's good right there.
Yeah.
That's good right there.
I think that kind of goes to, my second point is like, don't give your attention to negative people or, situations. So for me, like, social media is very big, just like news and stuff. So being entertained by social media, television, music, etc. Those things form your thought process, which can alter the way that you function in life. So, like you said, you got to set boundaries on who or what is allowed to influence you. So, a lot of times we don't think that the music that we're listening to influence our behavior. You know, um, with all this head banging music, being negative, talking about drugs or talking about our women and stuff. When we consume that stuff and we're listening to it, when we see certain things in real life, it alters our perception of how that situation is being viewed by what we input in our minds, by what we listen to and stuff. So that's why, I try to safeguard myself on the stuff I view on TV, social media, and what I listen to and stuff. It's hard because I've been doing it for years, but I have to make a conscious effort and be like, okay, what is this doing for me? What is this doing to me and stuff?
Mm.
And as you sit back and monitor, you'll realize those things do have an impact on me. So what I'm trying to do is just kind of minimize and not do it so much, not trying to go like cold turkey. And I think that's very helpful with anything that you're doing. It's okay to kind of like gradually take yourself off some things, but you got to be able to gauge because other things need to be just, cut off.
Man, great, man. You said a lot of great points, bro. And the things that you do engage in, man, do help shape and manipulate your reality. So I noticed, man, when I was back in the military, you listen to that music, man, the trap or the ratchet music, you ready to go in the club, turn up, and all your inhibitions are just gone. You're like, man, I'm just gonna, do whatever I feel. And what you feel is what, like you said, those vibrations that you're putting in, man, on the spiritual level. So I did notice, man, like a month ago, I stopped listening to all music, man, unless it was something like frequencies like Solfeggio or something positive. And it does, man, it manifests from the inside out. So what we see in the physical is just the internal manifestation of what we think, man, and how we hold ourselves, our boundaries, our value systems, and all that stuff, man. So you said a lot of great things, and you really do have to safeguard what you watch as well. And if it's not I found the easiest way, man. If it's not in alignment with what you want to do at that particular time, you just got to say, hey, is it adding or subtracting? Like we always talk about, is it adding, to your purpose, or is it subtracting from? And if it's subtracting from, man, 9 times out of 10, there's not going to be any value added. Just like with people, is this person coming into my life to add or subtract? And if you have a hard time being confrontational and limiting your access, that's a simple question that, some of you guys out there can ask yourself, are they adding or subtracting? And I guess for me, man, limiting my access means really protecting my energy and my well-being by choosing quality people to have access over me, man. People that I can help grow, but also help me grow. You know what I mean? And they got to share the same value system, man, because you guys can have the same financial goals, but if the values aren't there, eventually you're going to come to a roadblock and you're going to bump heads. And so the values have to be over anything monetarily, in my opinion, for that relationship to thrive. And, really, if you give random people access, to your time, you're going to find out that they're going to derail you from your purpose. And then so you're going to be in a karmic loop, and you're going to be like, man, why haven't I elevated to that next level? Because innately, man, I think as people, we kind of gravitate to a little bit of drama, a little bit of negative stuff, man. And if you have too many people in your life with that, inherently, that's the direction you're going to go, man. So like you said, you got to unlearn and relearn. You got to rewire your brain because it's been so inundated with social media and things in the news to accept, attract, and gravitate toward the negative. So it's almost like you got to unlearn and relearn to realign yourself with the positive, man. So limiting my access to the information that I'm watching is very important. I don't watch the news anymore. Limiting my access to what I'm looking at on YouTube, fights, and it's just too much stuff on there, man. And we can't control a lot of this stuff, but we can control our own economy of scale, our own sphere of influence, man. So that's what I try to do. And just, just be real selective with just who you spend time with, man. Time's fragile. So
Yeah, man. You know, that's something real good that you were saying when you were speaking on quality over quantity and stuff. So throughout this journey of having these discussions with you, what I've been viewing in my life is if I have some good, trustworthy people and they're small in numbers, they'll be much more mighty than having a whole lot of people that I discuss and bounce ideas from that doesn't have the quality that get me kind of confused on what I need to be doing and stuff. Because in this thing called life, we don't have to do everything alone. It's good to kind of like share ideas with certain people and share certain information with people and stuff. But the quality of people that you share with can hold you accountable and keep you on a righteous path versus you sharing these ideas with a whole lot of people that's going to confuse you and get you off path.
mm, man, excellent, excellent. And the thing is, man, everybody's not gonna be your cup of tea. You're not gonna be everybody else's cup of tea. But you do, like you said, do want to have quality people, because what you'll do is when you open the door and start giving people access to you, one or two things: you're either gonna have good quality people, or you're gonna have people that don't share the same value system. And then you're gonna let in self-limiting beliefs, self-doubt. And then once that stuff starts creeping in, man, it's almost like an infestation. It's hard to get out, especially if you're the non-confrontational type of person. That's one of your good friends that you've known for a while. Now you got to have that hard conversation, man. So to circumvent all of that, everybody's got to have, like ET and CJ say, man, people got to get access to you based on their credit. And I'm not talking about credit in the sense of getting, loans or anything of that, in the financial sense. I'm talking about credibility. So people should have to build up their credibility before they get access to you. And I know it sounds kind of, pretentious, but that's a good way to safeguard your time, your space, your well-being, and your value system. And the thing is, man, we shouldn't have to tell people, like, once you do give access to people, they got to see an inherent worth, of your time. So you shouldn't have to tell people what you're worth. Like, they should automatically know, which is the reason they should be drawn to you, and vice versa. And I think that's another thing, man. Just being, grateful. Like, I'm grateful, man. You allowed me in your space, bro. We've been talking for better part of 3 years, man, dialoguing every single week, going back and forth, counseling each other, man. Keeping each other accountable. And I know your worth, man. I know the diversity and the different thinking, a lot of topics that we talk about that you bring to the conversation, man. And like you said, we may not share the same opinions on everything, but for the most part, I know we share the same value systems and the same ideals in life, man, of wanting to build wealth, spiritual health, and build our families and stuff, man. So I think that's important, just really knowing the worth of the people that you're around as well.
Mm. Ah, my brother Arnell did it again. I like that, man. That a person has to build that credit. So, you'll let them in and you'll grant them access on certain information depending upon their credibility and stuff. That's great right there, man. That just kind of made me think about another point is reducing the information that you give, which can be stolen or taken out of content. You know, you'll safeguard yourself of the information being stolen or taken out of content depending upon the credibility of the person that you gave access to. Because you never know what people do with that information. They may, people will use your ideas for their own and capitalize off of them, or they could just really be there for you because they want you to win and they want to help steer you through the things that you don't see. That's a good thing about their credibility, because somebody with good credibility, they're not going to use your information. They're just going to analyze it and give you their perspective to help you see things through, to help promote you through what you're talking about, or to give you, another set of eyes, some more insight. So, with these limits, it provides the value of a person or a thing in your life. Everything doesn't deserve your energy. So you just got to be able to navigate through what you should do and what you shouldn't. Like you said, is it adding to you or it's subtracting? So I'll say this last thing and I'll be quiet for a moment. I remember you had shared that with me, some time ago. Is it adding or subtracting? And we know how, the banking system work, and we always want more money coming in than, leaving out. Same thing with our energy and, people and information and stuff. So when I know what my purpose is and I try to evaluate the rest of my life and how all these things being aligned with my purpose, when I see that it's not adding and stuff, I realize a lot of things I'm doing is just really a distraction. It's taken away. So I need to remove it. And I would say often in my mind, because I'm human and I'm still a work in process, I say that, okay, I'm gonna remove it for this time period. But then when I try to go back to it, I realize that it's not useful. So it can be done away with altogether.
Right, man. Great points, bro. Like, so why do you think we take on all of these distractions, man? Why do you think we give these things so much access to our lives? Whether it be a relationship, whether it be a business, like why do we, when we know we shouldn't, why do we still continue? Why do you think we continue to give access to these things?
I think simply put, I'll say from field perspectives, it's entertaining, it's easy, and it's less accountability.
Mm, mm. I think too, man, that's great. I think too that it could be a distraction for the distraction. So I think you could be distracted. It's a distraction within itself, but it's distracting you from the thing you know you need to be doing that you ain't doing. And it takes your mind off it temporarily because it's something new. I think after we get past that new phase and whatever it is, having something else new is a little more enticing, whether it be a business, a relationship, you get to go back through the dating phase again and you get those butterflies. And you're like, oh man, this is cool. And then you get to the point where you hit that wall. But anyways, man, I appreciate that. And I think just to add on what you were saying, my wife was telling me about a book. I don't know if it was called The Power of No, but I was looking at how much we say yes to people and give people access to our lives, man. But each time we say yes to somebody, we're saying no to ourselves. So how many times are we gonna keep telling ourselves no? So really, we're limiting access to getting them to know who we are every time we tell somebody yes. Because you give a piece of a project or a piece of yourself to a project, give a piece of yourself to a business, to a relationship, whatever it is, every time we say yes, and we know we shouldn't be. So I think one of the strongest words, man, that we can have in our dictionary is no, because we're saying yes to ourselves and we're saying yes to our values and yes to who we need to grow to be, man, to help other people. So I think we gotta, just as a community and a population, man, get out of the people pleasing business and really start being a little more selfish so we can help people, and not selfish in the sense of not sharing blessings, but not sharing ourselves as much so we can cultivate who we are and be better, ready to help others out.
That's powerful right there, man. Like you said, man, saying no to others so you can say yes to yourself, man. I've been like a people pleaser in my past and stuff. And what I realized, I was spreading myself thin. I wasn't having enough for me because I was trying to be there for so many people. And then, it works in their eye frame. They see the strength of me and they see my capability, but I was lacking for self-help and I couldn't help myself. You know how a lot of times like people give good advice and they seem like they always have like the right answers and stuff. but you know, they don't practice what they preach a lot because they do that so much for everybody else. And I also have had that conversation with so many people because I've seen a lot of people that do so much for others, but they neglect themselves. If they can just channel their energy within their own lives, they can accomplish so many more goals that they aspire to do.
Wow. That's good, man. That's good. And it all comes back to self. Excuse me. Limiting access of other people so you can help yourself. Again,
Yeah.
going back to the plane analogy, if there's an issue on the plane and the oxygen mask drops first, um, you gotta help yourself first. So that means limiting
Right.
access, man. And that's what we got to do now. I don't know if you had any other thoughts to share, man, but I'll give you the final word to wrap up, man. What would you tell people right now that may have some concept of limiting their access, man, but struggle with either the confrontation of telling people no, um, or just struggle with limiting distractions, man. May not have a value system, may not understand the value of adding and subtracting to their lives. Man, what would you tell people right now that are struggling with that and are really trying to limit their access so they can move to the next level?
So what I would say is you got to put your purpose and your priority above others in order to accomplish your goal. I would say it's okay for you to be selfish for the things that you want to achieve because nobody gonna do it, you know, but yourself. So, you know, like I heard before, no is a complete answer. You don't always have to go into a discussion of explaining your reason why. And I think that's why we may fear saying no to people because we don't want to have that conversation. And everybody, depending on their credibility, doesn't deserve a discussion about it. Um, I say usually, you know, you won't output what you don't input. So try to start looking at more positive things on TV, social media, and you know, the news. Like we said before, listen to things that motivate you and inspire you. Those things are gonna internally output different actions. It's gonna make you have different perspectives and stuff. Um, be selective on who and what gets your attention and time. Your time is valuable. Your attention span matters. So be selective on who you let in and you know what you just channel your energy into. And you know, the last thing, like I said, just limit what you hear and see and think, but don't limit yourself.
Mm, man, great words, man. I love that. No is a complete answer. I'm gonna have to start using that. That's a great word, man. You said a lot of great things, Phil. I agree with most of them, man. And limit your distractions. You got to identify what's a distraction. Again, you got to understand, like you mentioned, that your purpose is more important than being a people pleaser and how many people you have in your circle. So ask yourself, man, on a daily basis, how often do I keep the promises I make to myself? So it starts with you. Once again, it starts with you. And once you realize your worth, so you ask yourself that question I just mentioned, that's going to build your confidence every time you keep a promise you make to yourself. And once you start really internalizing your worth, you'll see the value in limiting your access and checking people's credit, you know. And again, limit you saying yes. And there's nothing wrong. And if people, if they're perturbed or upset about you saying no, then they went your people in the beginning.
Mm.
Just understand, man, that everybody's not gonna rock with you. Everybody's not gonna be on the same boat for your dream. They ain't gonna see the same vision. You know, they say vision seen with the mind before the eyes. So everybody's not meant to see the visions that you have, and understand that people are only in your life for a season. Some people, others are in there for a reason, and then you got people in there for a season. I think I heard Phil say that, and that's powerful. And those people that are in there for a reason are going to be your long-term people, those people that you actually give access to. So, man, I'd say pray to God for wisdom. I say pray for discernment, faith, and courage. and step out there and do what it is you need to do. But start with self before you even try to bring anybody in. Because once you know your identity, you're going to realize that there's an actual need to limit your access to others. So that's all I have. My brother Phil, you had any closing words, brother?
Man, you just made me think about a book that you recommended to me, Atomic Habits, man. If you guys haven't read that, I would suggest that you read it. It talks a lot about identity. And a lot of our issues stems from self within. So we have to know who we are and what we're trying to do before we try to clean up the things outside of us with people and things. So I think, I would recommend you read that book, Atomic Habits. It's great. It'll help you evaluate yourself and find out more about yourself, because a lot of times we don't know who we are and what we're trying to do. So, we have to clean up in-house first before we have to try to clean up things outside of our own self. So, with that being said, I just appreciate everybody from tuning in. We just try to share our experiences of things that didn't happen the way that we envisioned them to, and it's lesson learned. And we're following forward to apply what we've learned to just be better people in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Great words from a great man. Hey, this is the Falling Forward Podcast, episode 6. Are you limiting your access? Yeah, well, appreciate you tuning in this week. Catch y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.